Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our podcast. I'm Ariel Campbell.
I'm John Nwankwo, and this is the Labeled Podcast, a brand in the making.
Episode 2.
First of all, I just want to say thank you guys so much. Our first episode, we launched it just the other day, I think, and a lot of y'all have been commenting, just encouraging us, and we really appreciate the love and the support. And, at first, I was really afraid because I'm not really a front line person, I guess, or like a person that likes to be in the front of, whatever it is I'm doing. I like to be on the behind the scenes. So it was pretty cool to kind of get some support from, my family, some friends, and just some random people too. It was really interesting that random people I was actually looking at our thing and like people from like Jersey, and I'm like, how y'all find us in Jersey? Like,
that's fine.
Right, that's fine. I mean, hey. Thank you. I hope you're listening now. But I was just like surprised that we got Jersey, we got Dallas, we got all these other different places because we're based in California. So it was just very interesting to see all that. So, but we thank you for the support and hope you guys enjoy our next content. So we are going to dive a little bit into it right now. We're going to talk about London Fashion Week, which just passed, I think, a couple of days ago, right?
A couple of days. It kind of mixes with Milan Fashion Week, so we're going to mix the two.
Exactly, yeah. So we're going to go very quickly on this one. So, Ariel, tell me, who did you like from London? If you liked anyone from Milan as well, go into it.
Okay, first, I liked Erdem. I liked the color story and the mix of prints. Mm-hmm. And I liked how they did it in like the forest setting. That was kind of cool because I was thinking of doing that for my current collection that I'm working on now. And now that I saw all these designers do the same thing, I'll have to rethink that. But I didn't have a number one favorite from London.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was kind of the same for me. I really liked Erdem too. I think they're very consistent when it comes to like their prints and their florals, and just very much they're like I want to say, what do I call it? Medieval look, like maybe not medieval, maybe like true London, true like English aesthetic.
You kind of have a feeling of Rodarte in it a bit.
Yes.
It did.
Yeah.
A little bit of whimsical.
Very whimsical, very like Little House on the Prairie, but cute, no shade on that. Don't come
No,
for
it
me.
looked high-end. It didn't look like your granny's clothes.
And I will say, I think I love the mix of fabrics that he had, because I feel like in previous collections, it was just very oversized, very like grandma, old lady, cute, but like grandma, old lady. I feel like this time it was very much unique and I think it was like attracting a different demographic, which was
youthful.
Very youthful.
Yeah.
I will say, like when there was like a silk top that he had with like these printed like jacquard pants, and it looked pretty cool. And it had like a little like cape. He had a little cape with that look. I think it was like either the first look or the second look. It was just really, really cute. And I was just like, okay, all right, you better do it. All right. I was very into it, and I saw the other collections, still the same silhouette structure. Same signatures that he's done in the past, but I think it was a little bit more modern and update for the customer of today. So I was into that one. So I think for me, one of my favorites, so I have two favorites, I would say. So there's this Nigerian brand called Dura Alowu. It's, I posted on my Instagram the other day. It was, honestly, love this collection. I'm Nigerian, so obviously I have to represent, but I'm not representing it just because they're Nigerian or whatever. I'm representing it because I actually really love the collection. Beautiful, like African prints. He or she, the designer, got their inspiration from this African-American painter named Emma Amos, where they use a lot of like racial, they use like black agendas and mixed with like racial stereotypes, which is pretty interesting. So a lot of the prints, a lot of the silhouettes kind of go with the idea of, Black America, or even just like racial stereotypes in Black America. So it was a very unique look. And I just like the history and the story behind it. You can't really tell when you look at it, what the story is behind, but like I read the notes from Vogue and that's where the inspiration came from. And that's, I really like that collection. It was one of my favorites. And then I think another one of my favorites was, I would say Yuhan Wang.
Yeah.
Love that collection. Very like a lot of prints, a lot of like fluffy, like ruffled dresses. It was very old, like whimsical, like country chic. London country chic, not like American country chic.
There's a lot of designers doing like country chic. That's a good word for it.
Exactly. Because I feel like country chic here is more of like bell bottoms, like, flannels, overalls. But in like Europe or like London, it's very more, they have like a rich history behind it because, obviously like the monarchies that lived there back in the 1800s of, in Europe and all that stuff. So they kind of get a lot of their history and a lot of their references from that. But it was just a really beautiful, really clean collection. I thoroughly enjoyed it. There was this one that I posted on my Instagram. It's like a skirt or whatever, and it has a lot of like cutouts and like lace and things like that. It was really beautiful. I was just like, oh yes, I would wear it. But it was a nice collection all in all. And is there anything that you liked or anything that you were like,
I'm just thinking of the country chic. Like, dang, they've been quarantining nice.
They have.
It's luxury.
Listen, if you go on VogueRunway.com, find Wuhan Wang, go to his collection. Like the scenery in those like images, it just was like very like picturesque and like a castle. I'm like, I wish we had a castle here. Like, are there castles in the United States? Is there like a castle?
There are, but it's not the same.
It isn't, because like in Europe, there's like so many abandoned castles that people just kind of like occupy or like purchase to probably use for like for a random photo shoot.
But it's the land around it too. You got. Mm-hmm. All the greenery, the trees, the mountains. Here you have buildings, freeways.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just very unique, and I think all in all, all the collections that I've seen so far from London has been really good. I just think these two are like amazing, and I think they have a particular advantage because they're based in Europe and they can do whatever they want out there. It's really, the creativity keeps flowing, I feel like.
It was much better than New York.
I agree.
Yeah. Then Milan gets even better.
Oh my God.
And
Milan,
it's just the start.
It's just like Milan, like, let's just say like our favorites so far right now, Fendi.
Yes.
Listen, die. I want the entire, like, if I could, I want the entire collection. It was just beautiful. Like,
but they had more diversity because you're seeing a lot of, you're seeing a lot of, oh my goodness, I can't speak, but right. They had more diversity in plus size, age, and race.
Yeah, and I think the one good thing about it, because like Fendi, I feel like is like on a roll right now because Kim Jones is like the co-creative director with what's her name, Sylvia Fendi, the great granddaughter of the founder of Fendi. So he is taking the place of Karl Lagerfeld, actually. So I feel like this collection is kind of like a what you will see next.
You're intrigued.
You're intrigued, like to kind of show like, okay, this is what we have to offer. Once Kim Jones becomes a part of it, we're going to have more of this, I feel like. And I think it was pretty interesting to kind of see from where it was to where it is now. Because I feel like a lot of people weren't really like coming for Fendi like that. I feel like it was just very like
I mean, it kind of started, you kind of looked at it when they did those little faces with the fur coming out of it.
The peekaboo, like, or is it the peekaboo, or is it like I think it's like those little like attachments that you put on your bags, right?
Yeah, but they started making the bags with the eyes and the fur coat. I mean, that's when I really started to notice Fendi. And then they have the FF logo everywhere.
Oh yeah.
And then
Fendi prints on. Just wanted to say that. You know, if you know, you know.
And then, but I think that one silhouette in that collection was this, what would you call that blue? It was a very, like a baby blue organza dress with a yellow bodysuit and attached gloves. And I feel like that is the perfect luxury outfit for coronavirus.
Yes. Literally the best. Like it had like an orange, like little like thing under it,
bodysuit
right?
with attached sleeves and gloves. And if they had a matching mask, it would be perfect. Fix the shoes, because the shoes were kind of but I would wear that grocery store.
Honestly, it was
anywhere.
It was such a breath of fresh air type collection, because because at first before this, like I wasn't really I like Fendi. I like their bags. I think their bags are pretty cute, especially for like men's. It's like, you know, obviously like $6,000. All their bags are like $6,000 and really, really expensive, and definitely ain't buying right now. But I always got that like aspiration and that like I guess inspiration to kind of from their collections, because they have so much creativity going around. And I just feel like now that they last season was like, oh, this is a good collection. It was really beautiful. And now this season, especially with the limitations that they have, I'm like, okay, they did it for me. Yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah,
I'm here for it. So yeah, I think those are the collections that we really enjoyed. Oh, what's up?
And Dolce & Gabbana.
Dolce & Gabbana. So I actually really liked that, because I think they went back into their archives, right?
You noticed, because on Vogue Runway, they showed previous collections that were similar. And I thought, that's so cool.
It's very, very... So I think... So from my perspective, because we're in a unprecedented situation right now with coronavirus and things not happening, or even the fashion cycle kind of being like topsy-turvy at the moment, I feel like a lot of designers are going back into their archives and kind of reimagining them, especially these like, you know, imagined brands, you know, like the Dior's, the Chanel's, Dolce & Gabbana's, all of them. They're going back into their archives to really reimagine what they thought maybe 10, 20 years ago. And I think with this collection from Dolce & Gabbana, that's what they did. And they executed it perfectly, because honestly, they redid it, I would say, or like they modernized it. Yeah. Like it's still the same silhouettes somewhat, but still like, I feel like a woman or a man, if that's your flavor, of today would definitely wear it. And honestly, I can see you like rocking some of those pieces too. I was just like, okay, I see why she likes this, because it's like very much your aesthetic. You're very colorful, so definitely.
Yes, as you can see, if you're watching.
If you're watching, coming soon. Okay, so yeah, I think that collection was really dope. What did you like about it? What was your like?
Oh, all the prints and the colors and how they mix it together. It's a lot to look at, but
right. It's not for the faint of it worked. It's not for the faint of heart, especially if you're like because for me, seeing so many prints, like what's that one brand? Libertine, yeah. There was so many prints. I was just like, ugh, this is a lot. But I think with this one, it wasn't that much. It was much. It was a lot, but it was like. It still had that like je ne sais quoi.
It's just executed well. And they look high end, because a lot of prints, they look kind of cheesy, cheap, okay, little girl prints, I feel, with the little flowers that they have. And you have to figure out like the spacing too, to figure out your age range.
Right.
And I feel like Dolce did it well.
Right.
But they've been working with prints for years, so they understand.
They know what they're doing. Not the little girl.
I'm sorry. I couldn't think of a better word to explain that.
But yeah, honestly, like, I think I'm excited to see what, like, Paris is going to be doing, because I feel like London and Milan have done their thing.
They've stepped it up.
They've really stepped it up, especially with like quarantine and like, you know, having to go back into the archives. And also, we were talking about this earlier. I've noticed that a lot of these brands have minimized the amount of collections or looks that they create. Used to be like maybe like 40 to 60 looks. Now it's like 20 to like 15 to 20, maybe like the bigger brands are showing more, but like the more smaller ones, I've noticed that it's like 6 images and it's done. I'm like, this is a collection? Okay, I'll take it. Listen.
But I've noticed it's because they're getting rid of those runway looks that were just for pizzazz. Like that you would be like, oh, that's so cool. Okay, I'll buy this one.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But now they're just limiting it, not spending as much money.
Yeah, because I think those runway looks that they're normally putting their money in is for like, you know, the Zendayas or the, I don't know, whatever superstars that's out there right now that's really hot that would wear your clothing, like on the red carpet. There's no red carpet. Everyone's doing the red carpet from home. Which is weird. Which, I'm not going to lie, Zendaya looked really good at the Emmys when she did it from her home with her family and her stylist. I was like, okay, she looked, I ain't going to lie, I liked it. I actually liked the look. But the others, I was kind of like, I mean, I understand what you're saying. Like, it's weird. You're not on the red carpet, so why are you dressed up? But then again, this is fashion. Like, dress up to go to the grocery store and wear a mask. Like, you ain't going nowhere. Ain't nobody going nowhere. Where are you going?
Nowhere.
Everything's closed. So
I know.
I ain't mad at it. And Zendaya looked cute. I think the Insecure cast looked cute. I don't know if you know about Insecure. It's a really cool show on HBO. It's just, you know, highlighting it's just a woman who's like very, very awkward, who goes through life being awkward, and, you know, she's Black and all that stuff. But it's a cute show. I think you'll like it. It's just a daily like life into a woman who is trying to grow up, I guess. I don't know how else to explain it, but the person who created the show I think she was nominated or she won or something. I didn't watch the Emmys, to be honest. I just watched the Instagram feeds of all. So I was just like, I'm watching the Instagram feeds of it all just because I'm like, I don't got time to watch this. And y'all at your house. I don't want to see your house.
It's kind of weird. It's like a big Zoom meeting.
Yeah. It is a big Zoom meeting.
I'm okay.
I was okay. But then again, I did like some of the looks. Regina King, oh my God, she looked amazing.
Yes.
Looked amazing. Zendaya looked amazing.
There was another person that looked amazing, and I can't remember her name, but she had, it was the actress from Unorthodox on Netflix. Her dress, I forget who designed it, but it was amazing. Just look it up. You'll see it. Look it up. It was gorgeous.
I haven't watched that show, so I don't know who you're talking about.
It's interesting.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay, I'll give it a watch. We always go back and forth. I texted her the other day, you should watch this on Netflix, because we got a lot of time on our hands right now. So
yes, unfortunately.
But yes, so we're going on to the next.
Oh no! Before we move on, I want to give a shout out to Etro, because your collection was also amazing.
Yes.
The prints. There was this one vest that kind of looked like Lacoste a bit.
Did it?
But
good thing or bad thing? Because I kind of like Lacoste.
I think it's Lacoste. Because lacrosse is the sport.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping. But they had a different logo here. But they did a logo. It was a cropped yellow vest with a striped yellow button-down shirt underneath, and then the silk printed. It sounds weird, but you just need to look at it. It would be perfect for traveling to Italy whenever we can leave the country.
Okay,
and everything's back to normal.
I'll take a look at it. To be honest, I think actually they do really good outerwear for me. I feel like the outerwear is really the reason why I follow them, because I feel like their dresses are a little too like. What? I don't know. It's a little too. I don't know what to say about it.
What?
It just doesn't like. It's not a Dior or Chanel. It's just like a dress.
Well, it's more like bohemian.
Yeah. There you go. I like bohemian. I do really like bohemian, but to a certain extent. I don't want you to look like a nomadic person, like traveling the world.
Yeah, I mean, if you wore every single piece Etro and didn't mix it with other designers, I can see how it would be a bit much. Mm-hmm. But you just have to appreciate how they mix prints and colors so well.
I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate how they do that, because I feel like that's their signature. Yeah. But I'm like, some of their clothes are just a little too bohemian for me. But
you can always change it.
Yeah.
You can modernize.
I think the last season, the fall winter season, was like the best yet.
I can't wait.
But then I think I'm gonna have to double check. I'm gonna have to look again at this new collection because I didn't really get a good look at it. So I'll give you my actual verdict later on. But from what I did see, I was kind of like, it's cute. I do like it, but it's not like didn't do much.
No.
Yeah, But yeah, so we are going to move on to our next segment, and this one is kind of like really cool because we're going to talk about why garments are worth the amount of money that they're worth, and we're going to go a little bit deeper into like the costing. If for those out there who want to start their own collection, what you have to think about when it comes to like costing, fabrication, all that stuff. So I'll let Ariel kind of lead that conversation.
So why we're talking about this is because John kept bringing up who would pay this. So I want to tell you exactly what you're paying for when it comes to high-end fashion, things that you should think about. So first off, you're paying for the cost of a garment. That is actually like 6 times less than the amount you're paying for. Designers are not going to sell you garments at cost, so you can get over that. Okay. Because, it's a business. So what you're paying for in the cost of a garment are materials. So fabric, buttons, zippers, thread, all that. And then the labels, care labels, designer labels in the back, sizing labels. All that good stuff. Special services. So if a garment is dyed, like the fabric, that color may not be the color that they bought the fabric at. They may want a certain specific color, like most of Etro, that's probably dyed. And then there's, printing too. Pleating, cutouts, inlays, embroidery, all that you have to think about. That takes time. And there's a design that went into that. You got to think of all that. There's labor. So is it hand sewing? Is it print placement? Because on some prints, they align perfectly at the seam. That takes time. Okay. That costs money. And then there's also draping. So some designs have a drape element in it that you have to take into account. Yeah. Then there's production costs.
Though that's the most expensive, I feel like.
Because if you don't have the minimum quota for production, you are going to have to spend more per garment. Yeah.
She's going through it right now. So that's why she can speak about it because in some instances, so say if you go to a manufacturer and they have a minimum of like, let's say 50 pieces, is it per style or?
Per style.
50 pieces per style.
Not including colorways. So if you have multiple colorways, that is not part of it. That is not
part of it. So if, say, you have maybe an 8-piece collection, so that means you have 8 styles. So you have to produce 50 pieces of each style, if that doesn't make sense. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, 50
Yeah, 50 pieces of each style. So you'll have about 8 times 50. How much is that? I'm not good at math. That's like close to like
450
styles, like 450 pieces from that of those 8 styles, if that makes sense.
So if you're doing a high-end luxury collection like myself, you're ending up spending about, let's say, $72,000 for all that. Yep. I don't have that kind of money. Okay. This is my first collection. Bigger designers do, so they can do stuff like that and take the risk if it doesn't sell. I cannot. So we're going to do pre-order for my first collection so that I can fund the production costs. But so that's just the cost of the garment. Yeah. Now we have to do the wholesale price, which he's going to be more familiar with. But let me tell you how you get that markup. So there's called a keystone markup, which is about 2 times the amount of the cost to make the garment. So let's say you're making a suit. The whole suit costs $400. Your wholesale markup, it says for fashion, it's about 2.2 to 2.8 times. I said 2.5 just on this little example. So you're looking at $1,000 just for John here to buy it for his online retail.
Yeah. And usually so when it comes to wholesaling for me, I think so how it works. I usually go to a brand like Ariel's, and I'll ask them what's their line sheets? Do you have any line sheets, or do you have a lookbook? They'll send me all that information with their wholesale price. So I would buy it wholesale, not at retail. Yeah. And then usually they'll give me a suggested retail price. So say if if one of her garments was like, let's say $2,000, right? Then the wholesale price of that garment is going to be around $1,000. Yeah. Usually, and from experiences that I've seen, especially with designers that I've been buying, the markup from cost is usually about 65%. So there's this one designer that I've bought that's like $1,325, right? I got it at wholesale for like $390. So that's like a 60, maybe 70% markup in a sense, or maybe a little bit less than that, I think. So a lot of designers or a lot of companies use like a markup system where it's like a percentage instead of the 2.5 or 2.8 times. But the reason why designers try to sell the wholesale pricing is to get retailers like myself to kind of buy it and get a profit from it. So our margins is about maybe, what's the margin for that? I think it would be like maybe 60 or something like that. Or maybe
50%. Well, it depends because some designers will sell a lower wholesale price so you have a better margin. Yeah. So they will give sometimes a discount if you're buying more product.
Yeah. I have noticed that because some designers are like, oh, our minimums is $5,000. Like 2 designers that I have right now, their minimum is $5,000, meaning I have to spend an equal of $5,000. I can buy any, or I can order any style or any product that they have in their collection. It all has to equal up to $5,000. So say if they have maybe like 8 pieces in their collection, I have to buy at the amount of sizes, the amount of quantities that equal to $5,000.
That doesn't seem like a lot of money.
It doesn't seem like a lot of money in hindsight, but like
you wouldn't get a lot of stuff. Especially from my collection, you get like 5 things.
Right, exactly. To be honest, because say if I were to buy from you and your minimum was $5,000. That one dress that you have that's like $2,000, I can get like literally like 5 of those in on set. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think we wanted to like kind of bring this to you guys because we wanted to show you why these garments cost the way they cost, because it's the fabric. I think sometimes I also think it's the brand that kind of hikes it up a little bit more too.
But you have to think too is the people who are making it, are they being paid a minimum, like a livable wage? Mm-hmm. So things that are really cheap, like Forever 21, who do you think is making that? And what do you think they're getting paid? Yeah. These are things that you need to think about too. You may want to do your research because I can't speak on all brands.
Right, exactly.
But like things to think about what you're paying for.
And the thing is, a lot of those brands that have, I guess, low wages for their employees or for their workers, they are doing it in different countries where that is allowed, where that is, legal. Out here, I mean, I don't know, maybe people are not looking as much, but I remember I went to a manufacturer in downtown LA and I was looking at the conditions. It's not the one that I was telling you about, but but there's this one in downtown LA and I wanted to do like a little production or whatever because I couldn't afford the other production companies. And literally it looked like a sweatshop. And I was just like, it's hot in here. Like the facilities were not clean. From what I've been told, because I contacted the guy that owns it. From what I've been told, it's been closed down because of COVID. But I just feel like, the reason why these brands are able to have a quick turnaround in terms of product development, product design, and production is because they have so many workers working day in and day out, producing this product at a quick time, I feel like. So,
that's fast fashion.
Yeah, it's fast fashion.
Which we should try to get away with, which we'll go more into detail, I think, on our next episode about sustainability and fast fashion and how we need to step away from that.
But I think fast fashion kind of, it's a good, do you believe that it's a good thing to have fast fashion brands, especially for those Gen Z, 18 to 25-year-old, men, women who want to dress, I guess high end, but not want to
pay
spend
for the price.
pay for the price.
But then most of the clothes end up in the garbage.
In what way? Like because
it doesn't last long. It's poorly made.
That is true. I remember. My sister is a Forever 21, H&M. I don't think she shops at Fashion Nova, but if she did, she's that. She's like their customer. Like because she's just like she's really not into like fashion. She loves to look good and like dress up, but she's like, this is cute. I'll wear it. And she looks cute. No, don't get me wrong. She looks cute. But I'm just like, I try to tell her, no, like at least spend more on accessible, modern luxury, I guess, in a sense, brands. Nothing too expensive. Like maybe like what would you say? What brands do you think would be good for like a 26-year-old or a 25-year-old woman who doesn't have the money to spend thousands of dollars on a garment, but has enough to maybe spend like $300 to $500, maybe.
Well, then the cusp brands that we are used to. So Alice and Olivia.
Okay.
Theory. They're Vince, yeah.
Frame.
7 for All Mankind. For jeans, those are great jeans.
Jonathan Simkai, do you think?
They're a little up. I mean, yeah, sure, but they're a little. They can get a little up there.
They can.
Sync-Acept,
love.
I love their stuff.
Diane von Furstenberg, do you think, for like a millennial girl, or do you think? Yeah.
I mean, if they're a little bit more modest with the wrap dress, but I feel like now everyone's showing everything.
Okay, that's another conversation for another episode, girl. Okay, don't get ahead of yourself. But I'm just saying, like, I feel like fast fashion is kind of there for a reason. Yeah,
for the trends. That you don't want to spend a lot of money for something that's only going to be in style for a couple months. I understand it. And that's all I can afford too. So I get it. I totally get it.
But you'll spend on the piece. I've seen you spend on like a certain piece that you'll be like, oh, that's cute, I want it. And you'll spend it. Or you'll save or whatever.
Well, yes. But I feel like we just need to do more of that. Like saving up for a piece that can last you a long time. That's just a good staple piece for your closet. That's not going to create all this waste.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate to have to think of it, but it's reality.
I know, because like even with that manufacturer, I've seen so many like, because they do like dyeing. So like if you don't know, like some manufacturers, they dye. Like if you have like a certain like fabric that is like not the exact color that you want, you can get it dyed by either like a dyeing company or a dyeing manufacturer, or the manufacturer can do it for you. Yeah. So with that, there's a lot of like ink being added to that fabric, and sometimes that ink or that waste gets into like the watering streams, and it could really create pollution in the water, which is why a lot of sustainable brands are making sure that like there's not a lot of water waste, because that kind of I always get this like mix up. It increases or decreases your footprint, your carbon footprint, or it increases or decreases. Because the whole point is to decrease your carbon footprint. Correct us if we're wrong though, but
I think you'd want to increase it.
Do they want to increase it?
No. Because
they don't want to increase it?
Yeah, that's the issue.
Okay.
So decrease, yes.
So decrease. Okay. We got it. We good. So yeah, no, because a lot of the reason why we everyone's talking about sustainability is because fashion is the number one industry that produces so much waste, so much pollution, because we do a lot of things. You know, we have excess fabric that we just throw away. We don't compost it. We use water to create these garments, because the machines need the I think the water flows or the energy that comes from it to kind of produce them in a sense. I've seen it somewhere on TV. I just can't remember what it's called. But they use it, and then or if they're doing coloring or dyeing of a garment or a fabric, they use water in order to dye it, and then they waste it or throw it somewhere, and it just goes into some other type of watering stream that can affect our water and affect the animals that are living in the water. So this is a very complex conversation, because there's so much that goes into it. And, I think we should have someone who's more well-versed in this topic, because I feel like they can educate us, because there's so much that I don't know, and I'm sure there's so much that you don't know. And it would be good to kind of have someone who has a deeper, better understanding of this and what we can do as people in the fashion industry to kind of decrease this.
Yeah, because I remember years ago, the fashion industry is one of the top polluters. So it's an issue. A
big, big issue. And it's sad, but what can you do? If people want to buy clothing and they want their fashion, you kind of have to do what you got to do. But I think now there's a lot more brands that are being more sustainable. Like one of the brands that I'm carrying right now, their name is Skims. They're more like leather goods. So not leather goods, actually. They create everything out of leather. So they have leather dresses, leather pants, skirts, all that stuff. It's a really cute brand. I think very, very, very expensive, but it's a good designer brand, and they're trying to be more sustainable. So. And I think that's really cool because they're using organic, like instead of just leather, they're using organic cotton. They're using hemp fabrics, and this is considered more like a designer luxury, maybe mid-contemporary brand. So I'm surprised that they're going in this route, but it's interesting because I feel like their price point is still the same in a sense. So I always wondered like what goes into it, if it's like if these organic fabrics are a little bit cheaper than what they've normally used, if that makes sense.
Yes, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But that I don't know. I don't know what goes into that to make it so similar to non-organic.
Yeah.
Like faux leather. Because I always wondered that with Stella McCartney too. Like what justifies those costs?
Right.
It's not leather. But maybe the process of making that faux leather seem like leather, it could be really expensive to do. And that's probably what you're paying for.
Right. It could be really expensive. Because I think you still have to take it to like a leather technician to kind of like create it, right? And I know those are pretty expensive. You're not doing leather, so I don't know if you know the answers to this question, but I find this whole entire process very interesting. How some brands are utilizing vegan or even faux leather and what can justify the cost. Even like faux fur, I'm like. I was Burberry a few seasons ago. They had like a faux fur, really beautiful coat, cape coat. It was $4,000. And then there's this other brand who does just fur, like mink fur, real fur, and it was $4,000 too. That coat, from this other brand that does real fur. So I'm like, how is with Burberry's? It's like faux fur. $4,000, and then this other brand, real fur, mink fur, $4,000.
I don't know. You'd have to do the research for that. One of them could just be really marking it up.
I know. I feel like, that's where my, I don't want to say angst, but that's where like my, I feel like these brands are tripping sometimes because I feel like, one, I'm not buying real fur. I'm buying faux fur, or I'm buying faux leather, or vegan leather. And maybe vegan leather is a little bit more expensive, so we'll take that out. But like faux leather, faux fur, but you're charging me the exact same cost that you would charge, or that someone that's producing real fur, you're charging me the exact same cost. It's not lowered, or it's not. So that's why I feel like sometimes these brands are increasing their markups, or even adding a little bit more, or because it's the brand, because it's Burberry, they're like, oh, well, this is the cost that we're going to put it at because we're Burberry. We want to be in competition with these other designers, Well,
because they also have to think about their margins.
Yeah.
That goes into the cost of a garment.
Yeah.
That's not even factored into the wholesale markup and the retail market.
Yeah.
So because
they have to keep it up with all terms of pricing. So like their margins between cost of goods to wholesale, right?
And because let's say they just sold wholesale, they still need to make their money to pay for everyone that works there and rent and everything.
Yeah.
You're paying for a whole industry with that one t-shirt.
You really are. So just to give better context. So basically, say there's like a dress, right? And it's like cost of goods is, let's say, I don't know, $100 or something, right? they mark it up by a certain percentage. It could be, or at certain points. So like it'd be 2.5, like you were saying, right? Or it could be like 50%. However percentage that they're trying to mark it up, because that's their margins that they want to obtain as a profit for themselves.
Yeah.
So say $100 cost, like $100 dress for them to make is marked up 50 or 60%. That will give you the wholesale price that I would have to buy, and they get their margins. So say it's like $100, 60% of that, that's like what, 300 something, 400 around that price?
So usually they do like, we'll say 2.5. So like,
2.5, okay. So like
$250.
$250, okay. So then I'll buy it for $250, and then I have to mark it up to
about like, we'll just say you sell it for $500, $600.
Sell it for $500, $600. So all in all, someone's trying to get their money. That's why. But
then too, when you mark it up and we have that retail value, I mean, I know a lot of people are thinking, why is it 2 times or more the cost of wholesale? Well, you have to take into consideration most of this clothing is going to go on sale. Now, you don't want that because now he's losing money. But again, he needs to be able to mark it down and still make a profit.
That's interesting that you got into that, because I was actually, for some of you that don't know, I'm actually getting my master's in fashion merchandising and business management. And I was actually talking to one of my instructors today about that, because usually in the fall seasons, like things go on sale during like the holidays. So things like are permanently on sale around December, January. Everyone's trying to get rid of their stock. And it's usually like a big sale, like maybe 50 to 80%, But like usually like November, it's like, it's a good percentage, or you can still probably get a profit, like, I don't know, 30%, 20, 30% in a sense, especially for Black Friday. I know y'all waiting for Black Friday. So
if it's gonna happen this year, it maybe only be Cyber Monday.
I feel like Black Friday is gonna happen because it's just gonna happen online. It's not gonna happen in store. I don't think. The places that are still open, the places that are closed are gonna do it online. Even people that are still afraid of going into store, they're probably gonna shop online.
But will they do a Black Friday online or just stick to Cyber Monday like it always is?
But I feel like they go together. Black Friday and Cyber Monday, they're the same. It's always the same. Like
That's true. You can always get stuff online that was happening.
Yeah, we've worked.
I get it.
We've worked it. Like we've worked at a retail store where it's like Black Friday, there's a certain sale, and then that sale continues still for Cyber Monday. And I'm like, okay, yeah.
At least we don't have to work that this year.
Yeah, I know we don't have to do that. I mean, I've been out of that for 2 years now. This is gonna be your first year.
But then also too, I know a lot of people were gonna just go right back to what we were talking about, because I know we can get off topic. But then people think, well, why is Chanel doing that double markup when their stuff doesn't go on sale anymore?
Because they know it's gonna sell. The resale value is so high on that. Like when I was talking last week about the Chanel Classic Flap, how right now it's like $7,000 maybe. You could probably resell that and get maybe double that amount, right? Or like maybe sometimes it depends on how good you're
double, but you can probably get the exact amount that you paid for it back.
Probably, yeah. So because I feel like, because I think. So in my question, I guess, is like, why do you think Chanel does that? Or do they know because of the resale value of their products, or is it just because they're Chanel and they don't care? Well,
I was also going to bring up too that they used to do sale at department stores.
Oh, yeah.
Their stuff would go on sale, but I think they noticed that customers would wait for it. And I think a lot of designers are noticing that a lot of people are just like, okay, I'll just wait till it goes on sale. And so then they're losing money by not selling it at full price. I think that's why Chanel's just like, now we're done.
So then what do they do with that product, though, if they don't sell it after the season?
Well, they don't make a lot, so they make it very exclusive.
Oh.
Because I remember for one season there was this shirt. It was a white crop button down which said Chanel in black, and everyone had to have it.
Everyone did have to have it. I was like, why?
Our store only got 3, and we ordered way more than that because Chanel just wouldn't give it to us.
Really?
Because they just wanted it exclusive.
Wow.
Like not a lot of people to have it.
Wow.
Yeah. It's just something to think about. Like they're not making, I don't think, as much as you may think that they are making.
Mm-hmm. And that was such a cute top. Everyone really wanted that top. And I was like, I saw it on like certain celebrities. I saw it on the Housewives. I saw my aunt has it, I think. And I was just like,
it was cute, especially with those black leggings.
Yeah.
With the belt that said Chanel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I do see a lot of people wearing that with like jeans or something like that. So it's very like casual down. Because it's just a simple white t-shirt that just has the name Chanel on it. I'm like, oh, you're spending how much? $100,000 on this? Why?
It was way more than $1,000.
How much was it?
I don't remember.
Maybe $2,000? I mean, it is Chanel.
I don't know. I don't remember. I know it was more than $1,000.
But think of it, $2,000 for a plain button-down cropped T-shirt that just has the embroidered Chanel across the breast area. Not even embroidered. Oh, what is it? Like stamped?
It wasn't stamped. I mean, no, it was a different fabric, but there was no like beading or anything. It was just like a black fabric. Yeah,
like a stitching. So it had like a black stitching of the words, of the letters Chanel.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like, if it's $2,000, I'm like, where? How? But I get it. It is Chanel. And
oh yeah. And you know you're going to pay for it. I remember there was like this fishnet white tank top and it had these colorful C's all over. I think it was about $3,000. Oh.
$3,000?
It was so cute.
You would buy it? If you had
okay, the people who are buying it have way more money than they know what to do with.
Okay, but if you were in that same genre of, or not genre, that same tax bracket of...
Probably not, because I feel like by the time I'm in that tax bracket, I'll be too old for that. Okay.
You never know. You could get it like real simple. You could get it real like quick, especially if your brand takes off, sis.
Please.
Right, exactly. So yeah, is that all that we have going on right now?
Yeah, I think that's just like these are things just to consider when buying clothing. I think next week we're gonna go more into fashion and sustainability, a bit more about Milan Fashion Week. I think it'll still continue in Paris.
Oh, Paris! I'm so hyped for Paris. Side note, I went to Paris I would say I went to Paris 2 years ago. I know it's been a long time. But
has it been longer than 2 years?
I went in 2018.
That's 2 years ago?
Yeah.
It's 2020. Don't say longer.
Oh wait. No, but I'm still talking about it 2 years later.
That's fine.
as if I've never been. I've been to Paris before, but like this time I went without family, and this time I went to go see Fashion Week for the first time in Paris. I've gone to New York Fashion Week. I've gone to London Fashion Week. But I've never been to Paris Fashion Week. So it's always going to be in my heart. Yeah. And in my phone too, because I have a lot of photos. But I'm so excited to see what these designers do, especially with quarantine, COVID. I mean, I did see like a couple from like, the resort seasons, and some of them showed their fall winter collections from 2020, 2021, like a little bit later. But I'm just excited to see what they do for spring, summer. Yes. And I know they're still going to do shows. It's not like how New York, where it's like very digital. Europe is in a different... They have their COVID situation handled at this moment better than us. Yes. So unfortunate for us, we still can't travel because, there's a travel ban for us. But it would be cool to kind of see the movement of the clothing, see how it like moves, how it glides, how it slides, and, kind of get a deeper look into like the fabrications. Because I feel like Paris, or like the designers from France, they use really cool fabrics. Oh yeah. That are like, I feel like they only know where to get it from, and I'm like, where do you all get this from? I want it. What? But I'm excited to like kind of dive into that, and and
you get to see the people who went to it. Like in Milan, they're showing people who are actually going to the fashion shows what they're wearing, and we missed all that in New York.
We
and
sure did.
I feel like that's a good part of Fashion Week. Like people will line up outside of the shows. I remember when I lived in Paris for school for a couple months, I didn't get to go to the shows, but like I would be outside because you get to see people. People would be all over the influencers, and I remember they missed like.
But are they really coming though? Because so maybe around other parts of the world, influencers and like editors are coming, but like the main ones that you normally see are like
no, they're not
the celebrities and like
we can't go.
Anna Wintour, like she would be front and center everywhere.
Oh
like,
yeah, but
do you like? Will we see her? I mean, she's got money, so she has. If there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah. No, you don't see that. I'm just saying, there's like they're doing more of it. They're giving us a little bit of it, which is nice. So it's like, okay, things are kind of starting to go back to normal.
So do you agree?
Really.
So you agree that you prefer shows over the digital things that we've been seeing?
Yeah,
Why?
I do a little bit. I mean, I like the digital lookbooks that you see from Vogue Runway. But,
in the videos, maybe sometimes.
But there's a difference in those photos when they're still and when they're moving.
Got it.
You know? You get to see, like, oh, okay. Like, look at that.
Okay. There's more to it. There's more.
Way more.
There's more, yeah.
And then the background's different. It's like, it's a runway. You're not seeing these weird random objects behind them. And you're like, well, I don't understand how that go away.
Okay. That's okay. Okay, I get it.
I mean, that's what I think about.
So when I first heard that Paris was going to actually go back to doing runway shows for this season, I was kind of like, but what? Why? Where? How? Like, because I felt like, is there safety precautions? Is there like, what are y'all gonna do? But I think because America's not obviously American editors and like influencers and people that have those connections that can go to those shows obviously are not going to be there because they can't travel unless they have a pool where they can get on a plane straight to Paris.
Well, actually, maybe they can because Ashley Graham was in the Fendi show.
Really?
Yes.
But was she quarantined in Europe?
I don't think so.
And she did just have a baby while quarantined, didn't she?
Yeah, or a little bit before that. But
a little bit before that.
So they're probably, I don't know. And didn't like one of the Jenners go over to Paris?
Listen, Ashley, Jenners, whoever, if y'all know how to get to Paris.
You're going to go, you're going to stand outside and be
listen,
like,
I will so go. I will, you can even email them. Like, if you go to Paris Fashion Week, the Federation, like, you know how New York Fashion Week has their own website and London Fashion Week has their own website. Paris Fashion Week has their own website. If you go onto the website, you can contact their press people and request a seat in the show. That's how I did it 2 years ago. And sometimes I just sneaked in.
See, I wish I knew that. I was too chicken to even try doing that, so I just stood outside and tried to look at people.
But you could email them if they respond. I don't know about that.
It's probably a little late now. I don't know.
I emailed them literally 2 weeks before I was supposed to go, and that was 2 weeks before the shows actually started. And I got into I was able to go to like 2 or 3.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I snuck into one of them. And then I just kind of said I was someone else on the others.
Wow.
So, and it worked. It worked. You just gotta finesse your way in.
See, that's how I think a lot of famous people and people who do very well for themselves can get to where they are because they have
finesse.
They have that ability to be like, I think if you walk with confidence and they're like, yeah, I'm supposed to be here, people think, okay, yeah, they're supposed to be here. But I'm just like this. Like,
but also another thing about that too is like they're trying to fill seats.
That's true.
You know, because like with Balenciaga last season, if you see that collection, a lot of those seats were empty.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it was because it's like a huge stadium, and maybe they had a small guest list. This was when Corona kind of hit, and they were like, so maybe that was the reason why Corona kind of hit at that time. But like people were still going to Fashion Week and watching the show, so I mean, there's nothing they can do about it. But a lot of these brands, especially in Paris, are trying to fill those seats. So if someone's late to a show and they know someone's late, they're willing to pick someone just out of the audience to be like, oh, you come in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, regardless of who you are, as long as they can fill the seats and know that people want to come to the show, they'll do it. Chanel you can't get in. You have to know someone to get in. Dior, same thing. You can't get in. But you can probably get into Balenciaga. You could probably get into Balmain. Probably get into what other designers out there that's famous in Paris. I don't know. Some of those little lesser known ones, but they're still pretty popular. I just can't name them right now. But
they're lesser known.
Because they're lesser known. But no, you can still get in. It's just you gotta either wait and see if they have any opening seats, or you just email their press people and be like, hey, I'm so-and-so from this magazine or whatever. Because I kind of lied and said I was from this magazine, which is true. I have was a guest editor for a magazine. But that was
time?
Not at that time.
Oh.
So I pretended as if I was, and then they were like, okay, here's a ticket, a virtual ticket. And I was like, oh, yes, I am.
Well, see, I wish I knew that because I interned for As If magazine in New York and, New York Fashion Week. I mean, granted, I kind of stopped that internship right before school started because I couldn't do it at the same time because it was senior thesis and that's a lot of work. But damn.
But I don't know how it works in New York though, because New York you can easily get into a show.
Oh well, excuse me.
I feel like for me, I feel like I was able to get into a show.
I guess I did not try that or at all.
No, because it's especially around that time, everyone was going to because you said, I remember we were talking a while ago. They were having Fashion After Dark or whatever. What was it? Fashions Night Out or something like that?
Yes, I missed that.
It was so easy to probably get into somewhere somehow. And at that time, fashion in New York was popping. It was
great. I'm so happy I did the last Fashions Night Out that they had, I think in the U.S. was in New York, and it was amazing. My friend rode on those mechanical bulls. She did? At Fashions Night Out.
Oh my goodness. I remember they used to broadcast it on YouTube and stuff like that, and that was pretty cool to kind of see it. Because I was in LA and I was still in school as well, and I was like, I want to go to New York and watch it. But then it's go to New York and experience that. But they broadcast it on YouTube or some platform, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And then when I went after I graduated and I went for the first time, I was just like, oh. It doesn't. I feel like you just have to know people to get in, but I was able to kind of finesse it in a sense.
I don't know how we knew because we met one of the designers of Marquise at Sephora. We researched where things were going to be. I know Anna Wintour was. I think she's going to Bergdorf or something that year. And I remember we saw her cross the street with her huge posse of people, and that was the highlight of her night. It was
Listen.
She was a mile away.
I want to take a picture with Anna Wintour, but she's never going to let me take a picture with her because she's.
No.
Listen, I was watching this YouTuber who goes basically to he goes to shows, but he tries to ask questions of different people in the shows. He went to Paris Fashion Week last season, and he saw Tiger, he saw Kim Kardashian, just asking them questions, just randomly going up to them. He went to Anna Wintour and asked her a question, and she was she looked at him, and she looked at him up and down, and she was like, no. And then he was like, well, can I take a picture with you? And she was like, okay. And she just sat there. It didn't even get up.
At least you got a picture.
Yeah, at least she got a picture. So, but yeah, anyways, this is our second episode. We are done with the conversation, and we are going to, next episode, we're going to dive a little bit more into sustainability and, Paris Fashion Week, excited for that. And then we are going to, hopefully, maybe we can have a guest that knows a little bit more about sustainability and fashion, all that stuff. Do you know anybody?
I have a friend who is the creator of a diff who does, everything is recyclable materials.
A diff, the brand?
Yeah.
Okay.
So see if we can get her on.
Yeah, if we can get we'll keep y'all posted if we can get her on. That would be so fun to kind of speak to her and I'll ask her questions about what is sustainability for you and all that stuff, so we can get a better understanding and how she goes about it, especially with her own brand.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you all for listening. Yes. It's been real. Have a lovely rest of your week.
And don't forget to subscribe.
Comments, please share. Just let us know what you think of the podcast. Let us know is there anything that you want us to talk about, want us to touch upon. We are open to ideas, and we just want to create really good content for y'all. So yeah. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.